Hi everybody, it's Christina and thank you for joining me. So today I wanted to share with you this technique, and this is where we have a coloured background and then it's all edged in black. Now it doesn't matter what you use for this, you can use any inks that you've got or any colourings that you've got. So let me show you the difference, right? This one has used Brushos and I've used this embossing folder, a piece of parchment and some flowers, and that's created that card for you. Now this one has used this embossing folder. I've used a decoupage flower on the front, but I've also used these, and these are Zig Clean Colour Real Brush markers. They're just watercolour markers. Now for this one I've used this embossing folder and I've used these watercolours to create this card. So you can use any supplies that you've got. You don't need to go out and buy anything special. Use any embossing folder that you've got, any colouring mediums that you've got, watercolour mediums, and just create away. Just make what you want to make. So let me get into this technique to show you how it's done. Now you can also use any kind of card that you've got, but what I have used is some watercolour card. But I'm going to use this Creative Craft products, and this is available from Craft Stash. So I've got some watercolour card and I only need a smaller piece. I don't need the full A4 piece, but you do need to make this bigger than your chosen card because you're going to tape it into your embossing folder and it will pull the tape will pull some of the colour off the side. So make sure it's bigger and then you can trim it down. Now I've got some black ink. It doesn't matter which black ink you've got. This is Tuxedo Black Memento, this is Onyx Black Versafine, and this is Black Soot Distress Oxide. So even if it's a distress ink, it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to use this embossing folder and I'm going to create this kind of a card, but I'm going to do it with black this time around the edges. Let's get our watercolour card ready. Now I'm going to use the Zig watercolour brushes, and I think we'll do this in pinks and turquoises. So I'm going to spritz this card quite well, and then we'll pop it down onto the glass mat, and because it's wet that's keeping that in place. Watercolour pens, and we'll just go over this, adding in some colour, and we're just going to do it randomly. Is dry, you're going to open your embossing folder and you're going to place this down on the side that is flat. Basically this is the side that's raised, so it's going on the flat side, and I'm going to tape that in place. We're just going to tape it on the edges so it can't move around. And then with some black ink we're going to ink up the other side of the folder. Now I'm going to use some Memento, so I'm just going to go over this with some black ink. And all that's doing is picking up the area that's in between the flowers. Now once I've done that, we can close this up and we can run that through the machine. So once that's been through, if it's not black enough for you, you can always go over that again. So we'll just black that up again. This is why you need to tape it in place. I'm going to close it up and run that through the machine again. So once you've done that, you can take it out of the folder and you can remove the tape. Now this is where it might bring off some of the colour with it, and it has done there. But because I've done it plenty big enough, I can trim that down to fit my card. Now this is going to need to be cleaned because it's got black ink on it and we don't want to put it away while it's dirty. So we'll give it a clean. Now just let me show you these. This card has been done with purples and pinks, but it's also had the background done with Villainous Potion, which was a very deep purple, whereas this one has been done with the black. So my card base is a top folded 5x7, so I'm going to trim this down to fit on this, but I think I'll trim it a little bit smaller and edge it in black. So there's my black mat, that's going to sit on there, and they're both going to sit on the front of my card. So now we can think about some decoration on the front of this and a sentiment. So I've glued these two together with some flat glue, but I want some parchment to go on the top. So instead of cutting it, I'm just going to tear it. And I'm going to tear it so that it comes towards me. And I'm going to tear this piece so that it fits the front panel of my card. So to the top of this parchment I'm going to add in some flowers and some leaves. And I've cut my leaves from the Rose Flourishes die set, and I've cut them in green and in silver. Now because they're going to be added to my piece of parchment, I'm going to add a long strip of tape just down one side. Now I know that will show through, but once my flowers are in place you won't even see it. So we'll add this to the card just along there. Now around there I've got some hessian, I think it is, and it's frayed on the end, so I'm just going to pull 2 or 3, 4 strips out from the side and just pull them straight out of the panel. So once I've done that, now I can wrap these around there and fasten that in place on the back. Now because I like height and dimension to my cards, I've put some foam strips on the back, and that's going to sit just along there. Now we can add in the flowers and the leaves, so I'm going to split the leaves and add them in down the side. I'll put the green ones on the top, and I've already split them so they can come down this side. These are all going to be glued in place with some hot glue. And then we've got these lovely sprigs that can fit in the design, in the display. And then to the top of this we'll add in some flowers. And we'll keep to the pink theme. So I'm adding some pink and white flowers in. And then for my sentiment, I've taken a piece of black card, I've taken one of these strips from a paper pack that's Card Making Magic, and I've added it to it, and that's going to sit along there. So now for a few finishing touches. So I'm just going to put some glue on my flowers and sprinkle it with some glitter. Now I really do not like these centres to these flowers, so I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to add a little glitter ball in there. I'll sprinkle these with some glitter first. Now once your glue is dry, your glitter will lie flat and it will dry, the glue will dry clear. So just let me get a glitter ball now for the centre of that flower. So there's my glitter ball. I'm just going to put some glue on the back of it. And we'll just pop that in place. We'll add the sentiment across here. So I've put some foam tape on the back of that, and that says be your own kind of beautiful, and that's just going to fit over there, and it will also hold down the vellum, the parchment. So I've got some more of these strands. I'm going to thread these underneath, and I'm just going to tie them in a knot. And then we can trim those off. Spread them out, and that's our card finished. So there's our finished card, and here are some others that I've created using the same technique but just different mediums to get the look. Some have used inks, some have used Brushos, some have used the Zig watercolour markers. So just have a play and see what you've got and try the technique for yourself. It's very easy to do. You can use any colours that you've got, you can use any black ink that you've got, but there you've got some really pretty cards now that are all ready to send. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one. And why not subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, then you'll always be aware when I add a new video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.